feel the power? Can you feel the power? Feel the power of Double XI.
Positive Power 21.org Internet Radio.
You're listening to Jerry Royce Live Worldwide Podcast.
All right, family, what's going on? What's going on? Welcome to Positive Power, Double XI Christian Media. And yes, we are live. You want to check us out? We got a mobile-friendly app. That's right. A website. Going out to mbtv-21.com. mbtv-21.com. You check us out right there. Check out all our on-demand shows. That's right. Keisha Mosley, My Journey with Paula G. Soon coming, the Red Room gonna be coming on demand, available on demand, everybody. So it's gonna be exciting. That's with Shay Sand. So congratulations to her. And we want to thank all the guests that came out to our private studio. We had a great time, networking, laughing, all kinds of testimony, powerful testimony. Some of the most powerful stuff I've heard. You heard a lot of TV. All right, y'all. Coming up next, we got Mr. Evans. I forgot where Miss Evans is from. Gonna be here in a second. Right. Have a great time. All right, we're gonna talk to Paula G for a second. See what she got going on her neck of the woods. Is that you, Paula G?
Hey.
Oh, there she goes. What's up, Paula G?
Down here. Give me some. I'm about to melt down here.
So where are you, Paula G? You in Atlanta?
Yes. Where else would I be?
Now, I know you said you were sweating some. I wasn't sure, what part of Georgia. I know it's hot everywhere in Georgia.
That's hot Atlanta. That's why they call it hot Atlanta.
I believe it too, man.
Hot.
I think I was down there one time, and we were there once in May, and it felt like August in Maryland. I was like, "Whoa!"
Yeah,
we got here too early.
For you, folks.
It may have been April.
Yeah, they say a heat wave is coming through next week. So that means generally when they start talking about it, the heat wave, that means like in the hundreds.
Yeah.
Because, 95 down here is not a heat wave. That's just normal.
I know. We were close to 90 today, and it was really humid. Very humid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Had the air
and
on.
Yeah. And it affects, the people with respiratory challenges, they really struggle.
Yeah. I know. My neighbor and I had a conversation about that. He was out there working in the yard, and he was doing a whole bunch of stuff. He was landscaping and cleaning his car at the same time. And he said he likes the heat. He said, I love it like this. I said, man, to tell you the truth, dude, I do like the summer, but I like me some winter too.
Right.
Because I feel like you can kind of control your body temperature during the winter, but you can't during the summer. Not when you're outside. I don't care how much cold.
Yeah, to fight to stay cool.
Yeah, I don't care how much snowballs you eating. Yeah.
The heat exhaustion.
Freeze. I said, I don't care how many snowballs and freeze cups you got in your hand or in your pocket. You're going to be hot. You're just going to be hot.
I don't know. I agree with that. You're going to be hot.
Yeah,
How you going to be hot? You got snowballs and...
It's 90 degrees.
You ever had that when you were little and your friends put a snowball down your shirt, down your back?
Yeah, but it felt good when it's like 90 degrees out, though. You love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like, we're going to be sticky and everything, but,
You got snowballs and 90-degree weather.
Yeah, man, we used to have a ball back then, doing that kind of stuff.
I know, right?
We got Shamia Evans coming up. She's a spoken word artist, and we hope we'll be able to play some of her work so everybody can check her out. And I'd like to play it before she actually come on the show so we can save some airtime for her to talk to us. Maybe she can spit something live for you, Paula. Maybe she could do that.
Well, we'll see. We shall see. But yeah, spoken word artists are, we have quite a lot of them here in the Atlanta area, and so many of their journey is just so in depth. you know. And there's some of them that you really got to listen to those words and really listen to those lyrics because they're deep. They make you think,
Yeah, man.
you know.
All that testimony up in there.
They make you,
Yeah.
yeah, they make you.
Mm.
They really, really make you. You know, they really make you think. What's today? Friday, yesterday, Thursday. Oh my gosh, my journey. Yeah, and I hope y'all saw it yesterday. If you didn't, Sunday morning at 8:00 a.m. Just a dynamic, powerful testimony by Lyle Moore out of Atlanta, Georgia.
Yes.
Oh my! I'm still really. I watched it like 4 times.
I told you I watched it about 5 or 6, well 7 now because I had to load it on. Matter of fact, it's gonna be on MVTV 21 tonight on Music Vision.
Okay.
Yeah, while you talking,
There you go.
yeah, while you talking, it's gonna be loaded on
Oh wow!
demand.
Oh, that's right.
Episode
Loaded
20
up tonight.
and 21.
Yes.
So it'll be on demand. So
Yes.
I'll put the link out there so people can check it out. Man.
And that, you know, that's the part about that show is just such a blessing to be able to sit down with people and for them to be authentic, you know, and you find out things, even if it's individuals that you find out things that you never knew about their journey, and it just speaks to, it just speaks to, you know, everybody has a journey. Everybody can write a book. Everybody do a TV show, you know, because we all have a story to tell. But the challenge is being able to, you know, allow God to use you to share it in such a manner that it really reaches people.
So true.
You know? Yeah.
He
needs to be on Next Man Up or something.
And look, some of us when we do these shows, you know, 20 minutes never seem like enough, but a lot of them seem to give you the meat of the potato soup, whatever, the stew.
Yeah. The stew.
Yeah, the meat of the stew. Yeah, the meat of the stew. Is that
meat of the potato, the stew.
Yeah.
They really do. It really, you know, people really pack it in there.
Yeah,
they really get in there. You've been busy, Batman.
Batman's been busy.
Batman been busy, y'all.
We got a lot going on. We pushing. We trying to fill seats for three shows, right? We got three tapings coming up, and 2 of them have live audiences. So we got to fill the seats up, and we got to fill the shows up. So we busy. We doing our thing. We learned a lot about wait till last minute.
The Red Room.
Yeah, Shay. Yeah, I was looking at it today.
Oh, Shay.
I was looking at Dr. Eric Holmes' show. I think I might release that show first because Dr. Holmes, he's actually downtown in Charm City at the Legacy Award, big gala. They having a big dinner and gold carpet and banquet tomorrow night. Award show, 150 participants, guests. I saw him live on Facebook Live. Mo is down there. I actually talked to Mo. She was hanging out downtown. She was in Federal Hill when I spoke to her. Now a lot of people don't know about the history of Federal Hill, but that's where the cannons sat at to keep the British from invading the shorelines of Baltimore. Yeah, I gotta pull out. You know what? You know it's funny. You think about it, Paul, and you know Dr. Kelly and I've been getting into a little bit on his show. Before his guests come on, we've been talking a lot about the history that's in these areas. You're talking about from here, just from here down to Georgia. It's tremendous history.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we're not going to be on here reading no cards or anything. We're just going to pull out, you know, what we learned, you know, over a day or two and just share. And like I said, Mo, I didn't get a chance to look at it, but I've been down there enough times to remember that was why they had Federal Hill. Federal Hill, basically, that's where they had the can. That's where those guys manned it and protected the harbor of Baltimore. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it really is all up and down the eastern corridor of the United States. It's
Gold Coast, they call it. The Gold Coast.
Yeah. Yes. You know, the history, and then you know your southern history, and it really, you know, what is the saying? If we don't know our history, don't.
Oh, sorry about that, Paul. I think I muted you by mistake. Go ahead.
You did. says it. If we don't know or understand our history, then we're destined to repeat it. And it bears, because you all were talking the other night about the Emancipation Proclamation and Harriet Tubman, and just a lot of that, a lot of our past history, and it just bears knowing it, understanding it,
and protecting it too, preserving it, because I'm not sure if you heard what some of the young ladies said to Lakeisha on her taping. They were there to preserve the history, because a lot of the young people are getting their college degrees and they're not coming back to the shore. So they're the ones raising the money to protect the historical high school. Remember, that school where we were taping out of was one of the only schools the African Americans could go to for high school. You remember they had those one-room schoolhouses? Well, they really exist. That was one of the only buildings that they had that they were able to study. Yeah. Grades. What's that? 9 through 12. Was that actually the way the grades worked back then too? Was it always 9 through 12?
I don't think so. I mean, I think there was generally a K through 12, but I believe the division was probably a bit different.
Yeah, I gotta look that up.
I believe, but yeah, it's one-room schoolhouse where they had where all of them were in the same, in the same room, and the teacher was tasked to teach different different levels, and that's a challenge.
Yeah, it is, because you force the young kids. Some kids not grasping the lesson very fast, and then some moving fast and they want to be challenged. Think about this too. Going back to that school, a guy there, I forgot what his last name is, but I call him Mr. Clay. Mr. Clay, we're trying to get him. We hope he's going to be a guest on the show, on Lakeisha's show, and be able to share some of the stuff. And then we're going to try to get him here, because he actually lives in the Baltimore area. We give him more time to explain what went on. But this guy was the frontier of preserving and protecting the history, because they were going to tear that building down, and they saved that building with over I think it took a couple $1 million to restore it, and they still spending money on it. Yeah, I got to go back out to the website, but I know they spent a little over $1 million to restore that building. It's beautiful. Even the outside, still original shingles and everything. So we're talking. Yeah, we're gonna get into that, man. And just think too, as I passed through those counties, my parents actually live in the county that Frederick Douglass was born. Yep. One of the richest counties in the whole country. Yes, that's where most of the people move there, because they also have low income taxes. Their taxes are lower. And just think, Frederick Douglass, a lot of people know Frederick Douglass actually owned 2 homes. He owned a home on the Eastern Shore and one in D.C. Yeah, he was a very prominent man. He had a lot of... Frederick Douglass was a very powerful individual. A lot of the whites actually really respected his intellect. And just listening to what they were saying about George Washington, he had some really close relationships with some of the Africans, Americans that was on his plantation. He respected their craftsmanship and their intellect. He actually went to them for counsel for some things, what I was hearing. Yeah. So we got to find that out. Yeah. How did Frederick Douglass maneuver his way into the Capitol? It has to be very interesting,
Mm-hmm. Well, those journeys, and you learn how those things came to be.
Yeah, we got to find that one out, Paul. I think that'll be some, because you think about when we study Black history in school, they cover so many names and just a little paragraph for each person, but not really their true origin. I mean, Frederick Douglass he was a real fascinating man. If you had a chance to interview that guy,
imagine that. He had the opportunity to interview some of those, individuals from the past, some of those individuals and just to sit at their feet and to hear their journey from their own mouths. Being here in Atlanta, I've had the opportunity to be in the presence of some of civil rights leaders and to listen firsthand of their experiences. And I've heard two different versions of that night in the hotel with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in Memphis.
Right.
Through Ambassador Young and through Jesse Jackson, especially Ambassador Young, just to listen to him reminisce. You feel like you're in that room. Mm-hmm. He talks about that evening, the night before, where they had a pillow fight.
Yes.
And, y'all said, Dr. King, he was a great man, and, he had all these accomplishments, but he was a jokester. He said, we were in that room having a pillow fight like little 7-year-old boys.
Yeah,
joning on each other. Yes. Mm-hmm. And just listen to him share, those personal experiences. And like he said, those things that you don't read in the history books. You get more of a personal side of each of them. Dr. C.T. Vivian, his experiences, coming across the Edmund Pettus Bridge, his experiences of being hit in the head, and his head bleeding. We see that historical footage, of him standing on the steps of the where they were trying to vote, and you see the blood coming down his face, and him saying, we just wanted to vote, and to see that video, but actually see him be in his presence as he's sharing that it's chilling almost. It's chilling almost. So yeah, that'd be something to be able to interview Frederick Douglass.
And not just that, but the economics, because a lot of times people think that those guys didn't have any wealth. You think about Madam C.J. Walker and some of the other women that came behind her that owned their own salon. They were wealthy women. Also, Frederick Douglass had to have been wealthy too, because I heard he had owned a few homes in the Baltimore area on a street called Dollar Street. And then of course, it's kind of deep. But look, our guest is ready. It's 11:32. Right. It's time to talk to her. Now, I don't know how long her piece is, so I guess we can find some time and hit it in the middle. Out. Yeah, before we.
We'll find out.
Yeah, when we play it, because them, they can go on those spoken words.
Yes.
Storybook.
Yes.
All right.
They can go deep. Well, we welcome each and every one of you. If you all are just joining us for Late Night Radio with Jerry Royce Live and Paula G right here on Positive Power 21. Thank you so much for joining us. We love you, and we hope you've had a wonderful, wonderful week. And this evening, we have a spoken word artist with us who expresses her stories through poetry, and she expresses her journey through life through the spoken word. And she's also, in addition to being a spoken word artist, she expresses herself through dance as well as art. So we'll get a chance to take the journey with her through spoken word, dance, and art with my guest this evening, Shamia Evans, my sister. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. And yourself?
I am fantastic. I woke up this morning, so I'm going to try not to complain. I try not to complain every morning I wake up. For some reason, God sees fit to wake me up, so I'm gonna do something with that day.
Okay, sure got work today.
I am gonna do something. But that are you burning up in your part of the world like I am in Hotlanta?
Yes, it was super hot today.
And they say we in for a what they say, heat wave next week. I'm like, well, I thought we were already in a heat wave, but anyway.
Oh wow.
But we're going to be all right. We're going yet holding on. Well, you have had quite a journey in your young years compared to Lady Wisdom here in your young years. And that you've shared where how the spoken word started, where there was a time in your life where you were unable to express yourself. Explain to us what that time period was like.
Sure. So growing up with my grandmother, she was pretty, old-fashioned and strict. So it was, speak when you're spoken to, don't talk back.
Yeah, children should be seen and not heard. Okay, I got it.
Exactly. So I grew up that way, and of course this was before she found Christ and changed her life around. So my earlier years, you know, without me being able to express myself, I just started writing. And then writing became my outlet in expressing myself with everything.
What was some of the, if you would like to share, what are some of the early thoughts that you wrote, or what are some of the early feelings that you had that you wrote?
Not feeling loved. I was raised by my grandparents, so as I got older, I questioned, the whereabouts of my parents. Just feeling empty inside. And of course, with my grandmother providing tough love and me not being able to understand that at the time, I couldn't receive that as love neither. So, I just felt kind of lonely. Yeah.
And I think, it's the generation that came before us. They all did the best that they were capable of doing and what they thought was right, at the time, or what was necessary, what needed to be done. And it's so interesting because it's so difficult as a child to understand a lot of things.
Yes.
But the challenge in that is that as children, how we receive these things and how those things manifest. How they manifest in us. And then sometimes out of that manifestation, though, knowing that you have a gift, or knowing that you have an outlet of a way that you can express yourself, then taking those feelings and pouring it into, whatever that gift is or whatever that skill is. So did you have like journals when you were younger? You were just writing on pieces of paper, or?
Yes, I had diaries after diaries after diaries. My grandmother, she always told me, she said, your writing is going to heal not only others, but it's also going to heal you. And, at the time, it was just, writing was just an outlet,
Yeah.
But as I got older, I realized that it was my passion.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, a lot of times we can almost heal ourselves going back and looking at those writings, because I know, you know what I'm saying? Have you ever felt that,
Yeah, sometimes like when I got married, I went back and read some of my old, because I had stopped writing for a while, and my relationship with Christ it wasn't as strong, so I stopped writing. And I started to pick it back up after I got married, and I went back to read some of my writings, and it was just like the poetry I wrote maybe 4 or 5 years ago, it was speaking to the situation that I was currently in. So it was really mind-blowing to me.
Like, who is she?
Right.
Who is that Shamia? Who is that Shamia? I can understand that, though, because, as you journey through life and you have these experiences, and based on wherever you are, mind, body, and spirit, that moment in your life, it that's how it comes out, and that's how it transforms in your writing. What was it, I'm sure there are a lot of poets and spoken word artists that you have listened to and admired over the years, but what was it about Tupac Shakur that captured your attention?
It was how he had the ability to express like the raw version of himself, like his emotions, through poetry, like how he would, pretty much like tell a story. I love the metaphors and the similes that he would use to compare the pain that he would feel or whatever he was trying to convey in the poem. And that what really, captured me with Tupac.
Wow. I remember there was a time back when I was in the school system. When I first got an education, I was working as a paraprofessional in special education. It was an English class. And I remember we had a unit on poetry and spoken word and so forth. And, the kids were kind of bored because they were like, this is boring, blah, blah. I said, okay, I'm going to bring in, some poems tomorrow. I'm going to read. I want you to tell me who the poet is. And I've got to find this book, Shamia. was one of his earlier books of his writings. I don't want to say it was a book of poetry. I think it was just his book of writings. And I started reading some of those to the class, and they were naming all these poets. I mean, I even said Edgar Allan Poe. I'm like, come on now, because they swore it in like poetry. They swore it in like any poets. None of that. And I guess it was about 30 minutes. I'd read piece here, piece there, and then I finally revealed to them who it was. And the classroom exploded, but exploded in a good way. And that they did, because they were so used to hearing his rap music that they really didn't know the depth. That's what I'm trying to say. They didn't know the depth. Because he was deep, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's so deep.
He was really deep. What about Maya Angelou?
With her, I just loved her passion in her poems. Yes, her ability to express herself through, like, you could feel the passion in her poems.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So, in your writings, what have you found to be most revealing about yourself? Like layers. Huh?
Yeah. I guess that, I guess through my writing, I'm learning, that my gift that I have is only through God that I have it. So knowing that He is my source, I know that through my poetry, He revealed characteristics about myself, or things I may need to learn, or lessons that I may need to learn through my writing. So it's just like, my writing is my lifeline. Having that relationship with Christ, if that makes sense.
It does. It does. Does. So how, speaking of your relationship with Christ, take us on that journey as to how you found Him, how it grew, and how you're walking with Him now.
So, I grew up, I had a hard childhood because I made it hard, right? So the void of love, I filled it, with boys. So I was that fast teenage girl. And when I turned 18, I left. I went into a transitional living program after I came from the basic training. I went and did the transitional living program through foster care because I was raised in, the foster care system. And I had met my eldest son's father, who is 7. I met his father, and I barely knew anything about the guy, and got pregnant, and didn't want the baby, but ended up keeping the baby. And it was that relationship that I experienced with my eldest son's father that actually drew me to Christ, because it was like I was at my low. I was 7 months pregnant, being cheated on, degraded. It was just like everything. And I just said, God, I'm tired of living my life like this. Like, I have a child coming into the world. And the void I felt from, my parents not being there, I didn't want to bring another child in the world and have them feel the same feeling. So my mission or my passion then became to, love this child with everything in me. And I can't love my child with everything in me if I'm not at 100%. So, I asked God, I said, God, whoever's not meant to be in my life, remove them. And it just so happened to be my son's father. So I became a single mother at 19, and I did it by myself. And it was the hardest thing I ever had to do. And I had no one. My grandmother, of course, it hurted her. So she didn't know how to process the whole thing. So we stopped talking, and me and my mother, we didn't really have a strong relationship. So I was pretty much by myself. But it was in those times when I had no one that, I was able to lean and depend on God. And that's when I actually established a relationship with him for myself, because I grew up in a church with my grandmother, but I knew of him but didn't know him. So at 19, I got to know Christ for myself, and that's when I started journeying on this path with Christ. But, of course, I fell off. And then, at a time, you just get tired of going around in circles. You get tired of, living the same life, not being filled and not being happy. And I was just like, God, I want to be filled. I want to be happy. I don't want the temporary happiness. I don't want to, it's just a lot of things I was tired of. And then when I became married, I got married at 23. And then me and my husband, we welcomed a second boy into the world, and it was just like, okay, this is another baby. Then I started feeling the pressure, like I really have to get myself together because these kids are dependent on me. So, I went into the marriage without Christ. So God, he told me, I'm going to show you that this is not going to work without me. So me and my husband, we went through everything, and we've been married going on 4 years, and it was just like, you have to surrender, and God was just showing me over these 4 years that if you don't surrender, it's not going to work. So I'm like, I want my family, I want my kids, I want to be the best that I can be, and I don't want to repeat the mistakes that my parents made. So it's like I had no choice but to be better. And what was it, this past January, it was just like, okay, God, I'm tired of running in circles. I'm tired of doing things my way. I surrender. I submit. What is it that you have for my life? So since then, I've been, journeying with Christ, learning about my purpose in life, the work that he wants me to do. And I just been submitting, reading, fasting, and praying.
And that's all part of the journey. And being patient, that's all part of the journey.
Yes.
That's all part of it. But it's interesting, how we're driven to him, through, the choices that we all, and we've all done it. We've all made these choices in the journey of our lives that have borne both positive as well as negative consequences, from which we have to emerge from, and make a conscious decision, just like you did. You made a conscious decision that, and I'm so, grateful, so proud to hear that you make a conscious decision. It's like, okay, I got these little people looking at me, and they're looking at me like, what you gonna do? Like, oh, you need to get it together because we here, And, making that decision and taking that responsibility and holding yourself accountable is huge. That just speaks to, your inner strength. And God sees that. He sees that. Got you on this journey, and he's going to continue to use you. Do you have any particular pieces? And I know there's probably a few, but is there a particular piece that, and if you can't, that's okay, that you can share with us that has spoken to you over the years?
Well, yes. Since I've been, on this journey with Christ, a big thing that I struggle with, and, probably the center of why I, went through the things I went through is because I was struggling with my identity. I didn't know who I was. And I kept trying to create or allow people to make me be somebody that I wasn't. So just like I was stumbling through life, not knowing who I was as a person. So, being on this walk with Christ since January, he was showing me, he was like, you're not the only one dealing with an identity crisis. It's people that are in the body of Christ, they're struggling with an identity crisis, and they're forgetting who they are, and he was just letting you know that in Christ, you have so much power. Like if you knew who you were, you wouldn't fear. If you knew who you were, you wouldn't, it's just like, he was just letting me know that, it was an identity crisis. So it's this piece that I've recently written, and it's out of the book of Genesis, between Adam and God is reminding Adam, who he created him to be, regardless of the mistakes that he had made. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, so this one is, it still speaks to me, but this is one of my most recent pieces that I've written.
Okay. Wow.
Are we gonna play it, or she gonna read it? We playing it? Because I missed what you guys
You
were
can
saying.
play it. Sure.
Okay. All right, here we go.
Okay.
All right, hold tight.
Hey, my name is Davis and I'm from Haiti, but I live in Dominican Republic. I'm here, Positive Power 21, Jerry Royce Live, worldwide.
Adam, where art thou? I heard your voice in the garden, but I was afraid. So I hid myself because I was naked. Who told you that you were naked? I created you, Adam, in the likeness of me. I gave you dominion and power and the will to be free. The only thing I commanded was to not eat of the tree. To not eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and now evil has consumed me. The day I bit of the apple was the day I died spiritually. The scales fell from my eyes and now I could see, but when I look in the mirror, I can't recognize me. So I stitched together fig leaves to hide the pureness of me and cover my nakedness to conform to what the world said that I should be. Who does the world say that you are? Because I know your weakness and I know your flaws, but I still call you by your name, Adam. The beauty of you was that you were naked, but when you ate of the tree, your flesh was awakened. Clouded with deceit, your eyes shifted view. You forgot who you were and allowed the world to write on you. I put the tree in the garden to give you a choice, but you swallowed the apple and gave Satan your voice. You willingly chose death when I offered you eternity, stitching together pieces of who I never called you to be. Adam, who do you say that you are? I am lust, but I created you pure. I am greed, but I created you with temperance. I am proud, but I made you humble. I am lazy, but I created you to serve. I am envy, but I made you in confidence. I am wrath, but I made you with peace. I am gluttony, but I created you with meekness. I gave you my strength and I called out your weakness because I am God of a second chance. Between the 6th and the 9th hour, I lived as you. I took on your sins and knew all that you'll do. I cleaned you up in your past, I erased. So where you should have died, I died in your place. Because I am the resurrection, I have risen again. I stepped back into you and now I dwelleth within. I imputed my righteousness vicariously to you. So now you must live and do as I do. So come out from among them and be ye separated. Unstitch the leaves that this is no time for decorating. Loose yourself of the stitches that Satan had you do. Because as long as you're covered, I cannot cover you. I am trying to bless you, but Adam, I can't find you. Present yourself to me and come out of hiding, because I came to save who I created you to be. I did not come to save who you pretended to be. Adam, can't you see that all of who you are is wrapped up into me? I am your identity. It's only through me that you'll find you. So here I am, Adam. I'm waiting on you.
You're listening to Jerry Royce Live Worldwide Podcast.
Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Thank
Wow.
you.
How does that feel when you hear your own work being shared and the responses that you get?
Yeah, I was like, what? I wrote that.
That was me?
Yes.
Wow. Wow. If you, I ask this question to guests on occasion, and I think you're probably the first spoken word artist that I've asked the question to. If you could go back and sit in front of that little girl that was not allowed to express herself, what would you say to her? And it can be in the form of spoken word, whatever it is that you would speak into her. What would you speak into that little girl who was voiceless?
Wow, that's a great question. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
What would I say to myself?
I know, because it's probably so much, and it's hard to, condense it. What would you say to her? What would you?
What keep coming to my mind is
Hmm?
that you are loved. That even though it doesn't feel like nobody sees you,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
God sees you and God loves you.
Mm.
You know.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's so true. And you think, you think as, because a lot of us grew up in that children are seen and not heard, era. So you've got a generation or generations of people walking around where internalizing things is the norm for them.
Mm-hmm.
But there are others that, such as yourself, who were fortunate enough to have a gift to be able to pour all of those internal, well, maybe not all, but the internal feelings into that gift, and in the form of spoken word.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful, and that was a beautiful, 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 beautiful piece. And are you sticking around for the Christian Party line? You gonna hang with the ladies tonight? Oh, okay. All right. So we're going to transition in a bit, but before we do, because we may have some audience members that are staying with us for the Christian Party line. I hope most of you will, but we may have some that may not. So share with the art. Well, a couple things. One, for the aspiring spoken word artists that are listening, what give a couple of nuggets that you can share with them to help them on their journey.
My biggest thing is to, always, no matter what, keep Christ first, keep Christ at your center, and your life will be so much easier. Even, your artwork. He just makes everything better.
Yes. Yeah, and that's right, because you dance. I know you probably talk about it a little bit on the flip side, but in addition to the spoken word, just the art of dance has been poured into you, and the art of art also has been poured into you as well. So hopefully the ladies in the Christian Party line, you can kind of touch on that a little bit as well. So is there anything else that you'd like to share that maybe you have not had an opportunity to voice?
No, I don't.
Okay. All right. Well, we thank you so much for sharing with us. We thank you so much for joining us. We know you're going to hang around because you're going to join the ladies on the Christian Party line, which we are transitioning to. And I believe this evening, V Speak Life is our moderator, along with her co-host, Lakeisha Mosley. Monique Washington is joining the team tonight. Shouts out to Monique. Shalonda Williams is with us in the house, I believe. Miss Patrice Jackson. She's about to be my neighbor now. She's down here in Georgia. Chanel Lynn Malloyd, my sister Chanel Lynn Malloyd, and Shay Samuels, who is out and about working on a variety of projects and just doing what God has called her to do as well. And we are so excited for her. We want to congratulate her on her TV show, The Red Room, just a dynamic show, had dynamic guests this past week. Also, Lakeisha Mosley's show. These ladies on Positive Power 21 are rocking. Trust and believe. Positive Power 21 is the place to be for positive and encouraging radio and TV. So make sure that you feel the power of Positive Power 21. Make sure you keep up with us with all of our programming and our shows. Miguel Profecta, Pastor Kelly as well, Ree on Monday night, Shalonda's show. Y'all just make sure you tune in to Positive Power 21. You will be blessed. And at this point, we are going to transition to the Christian Party Line. I believe so. Batman, we're going to take a music break?
Take a music break.
Take a music break.
I am the music break. That's right. Batman got something to say. I just want to remind everybody, please share the file, y'all. Please share the file. Also, Music Vision television station is actually up. Family owned and operated. That's right, by African Americans that know what they're doing. Right, Paula G? That's right. All my partners and shareholders and investors. Shout out to you guys. Also, our underwriters. Can't forget the underwriters keeping us on the air at WATC2TOO.TV. Check out Paula G once a month. You catch her on 57.1 digital and Comcast on I think it's channel 1 in Atlanta, Georgia. And also you catch her on WATC.TV on the prayer line. That's right. Call in, y'all. They go up. Paula could pray. That's how Batman got right here. My mom don't understand what's going on. So I gotta get Paula to pray for me. All right, y'all. We can ready to transition over to the Christian Party Line, CPL. These ladies are so awesome. We had so much fun. We're about to post. We should have did a video of me that we had really just got together. But I got a little video, so check it out. It'll be out there on the website. But meanwhile, man, I forgot I had a video I was supposed to run. I forgot to load it. All right, y'all. Let's transition. A song by Michael Lee.
Searching for a testimony from your test. The race is near the end, but you've run out of breath. You're exhausted from your struggles, you've got nothing left. Yeah. Well, I came here to give you some encouragement. Yeah. When you feel like you're about to give up, that's the moment he's about to show up.